Yeah. Do you have anything you feel particularly strongly about starting with?
Um, oh, there's something that I really want to... Well, okay, there's one thing that I kind of want to
Yeah. Go for it.
talk about just up top.
Hell yeah.
Like, because I don't know where you sit with Doctor Who. You kind of think it shines brightly, but also there's so much shit in it. Like, it can rise so high and then fall so much lower.
Good Man Goes to War. I have such a fucking complicated relationship with Doctor Who because I've been engaging with it for like most of my life, which is a fair chunk of time now. I'm 40. So I grew up engaging with fucking Jon Pertwee because I was into the Navy Lark, which I'm less into now because there's so much racism in that piece of shit, let alone the sexism. The sexism is more of a time. But anyway, so like I grew up with Planet of the Daleks and God, the Paradise of Death, all that stuff. And I loved my Tom Bakers, and I even got into some Peter Davidsons. So like I was so happy when it came back and when RTD brought it back and it was really good. But where I am now, this is amazing. Like I agree with the standing up.
I know, right?
Yeah. So yeah, now where I am with it is I have accepted that the show I loved is gone, but what the show has actually done is just sort of returned to where it was in classic Who era, which is it was a good show that had ups and downs, but it was pretty consistently unlike anything else that was being made.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just that the show has been so amazing at points since 2005, that it's kind of ruined when the show is just good. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally. I didn't realize you were into the classic era.
Less so now. So like, I struggle with nostalgia stuff, in that I tend to only watch stuff that was made more than like 10 years ago. Rarely. I got a jonesing to watch The Others, the 2002, 2001 Nicole Kidman horror film fairly recently. But yeah, so I really enjoyed a lot of the classic stuff. I'm not sure I'd watch it now. I showed Jen, my spouse, Planet of the Daleks, the Jon Pertwee one.
Love
but
it.
We accidentally watched it in black and white, and it looks so much better.
It has my favourite Dalek in it with the light up lights. Beautiful.
It's a good story. But yeah, like when we accidentally watched like episode 5 or something was in colour, I went, oh God, it's so obviously just a soundstage. It looked really convincing in black and white. Yeah, what's your relationship with the classic material?
With what? The classic era?
Classics, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just explain my relationship with Doctor Who then.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm 36, so I
Hell
got
yeah.
into the show in 2005 when it got revived. And I watched it, and I loved the RTD era, although by the end of it, I was so sick of the melodrama. I was just like,
yeah.
We need Moffat to come along. And then Moffat came along, and I was like, I don't like this. And then it got to Series 9, and I was like, I give up. Even though, like, the series after that is, like, one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And then around Series 12, like, Jodie's second season, that's when I, like, finally got back into it, and that's when because I used to rewatch the RTD1 era so much, and that was like my Doctor Who, and I accepted that Doctor Who would never be what I wanted again. Whereas now, I love it all, and I've just learned to sort of look for the things that I love about it rather than focus on the things I hate about it. And it means like with stuff like the Lazarus Experiment, instead of it being like really disappointing that they've got that really rubbish CGI face.
Oh my God.
I focus on the massive physicality of this incredibly mobile, massive monster that they've never like done anything like again. It moves so quick, and there's such a massiveness to it, and they're quite playful with like how it like runs up the ceiling at one point and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And when you've got like all of Doctor Who, like it was a few years ago that I watched all of classic Doctor Who, and I've seen it like 2 or 3 times,
Wow.
if not more, since then. Once you've got all of Doctor Who, you get to appreciate like what a single story does more than every other story. So like Lazarus Experiment is really frustrating because it has really interesting ideas about mortality and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, it's very like surface level, but the fact that they ask they like raise these questions and stuff, it's like, you know, it's disappointing they don't do more, but also I really value them doing that. So yeah, I'm now like I love Doctor Who. It's like my favorite thing.
Nice. I respect the shit out of Lynn. No, fuck respect. I admire the shit out of that. Like, it's so cool to be like, I suppose, do you feel like being able to look for the really good shit in every episode is a matter of you have a certain amount of like emotional distance from the work, and that's what lets you connect with the good stuff whilst letting the bad slip past you? Or do you feel like you're so into it that the good stuff shines?
I think that the most fertile ground for loving a story is hating it last time I saw it.
Ooh.
So like I've never loved Doctor's Daughter. I thought it was one of the worst stories. And then the last 2 times I've watched it, like the first time of those, I was doing a watch through and I just finally, like, the angst of Tennant and, you know, the angst of the Time War and stuff hit me where it hadn't hit me yet.
Yeah.
So that all kind of condensed and sort of made me appreciate it then. But now, my most recent watch, see, I've been sort of like, realizing that a good, like, angsty thing that I can actually talk with people about in my life is that, like, my mum's fucking shit with trans stuff. So having a parent having a parent be shit about their kid suddenly resonates on a level that yeah
I can see that.
Suddenly, like, Jenny's like my self-insert character and Tennant's my mum.
How does Donna's situation feel with that sort of thing?
What do you mean?
So, like, Donna has the 2 parental figures. Obviously, one's a grandparent, and one is sweeter than sweet, and one is borderline / actually abusive.
Yeah.
Does that feel like similar, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the mum feels closest to my mum out of all the mums that there are in Doctor Who. So, guess there's that. You know, I appreciate that mum. Like, as time goes on, I really appreciate her more and more and how shit she is and how they don't just hold back from that.
Yeah.
And how, like, you know, in Turn Left, she just ultimately just admits, like, yeah, I've given up on you and just...
Oh, God, that hit. Yeah. That was... I don't get on with that episode massively, but that moment was very good.
Yeah, I like it less and less every time I watch it, and it's so sad because I loved it so much when it first came out.
Same. It was such a powerful piece of television when I first watched it, and like, I've got very complicated feelings about it now.
Yeah?
Have you listened to any of the Big Finish Jenny stuff?
Nah, I can't really get into Big Finish. I've tried, and now I've decided that if I ever do get into it, it can't be via other people's recommendations. I have to go with what sounds good to me. So the Sacha Dhawan master, I want to get more of him. I want to get more of the Shakespeare Code witches because they have word magic, and that was so bad in the Shakespeare Code, but the idea is so good.
Yeah. Oh God, is it Octavia Butler? There are multiple books where they do that, but yeah, no, I agree that it was really fucking underused. It's like, why you've got a really amazing idea here and you brush up against actually using it well, and then you just swerve away from it.
Good old JK.
That hasn't aged well.
Well, it's nice that that's in the episode written by the transphobe, so we can just package it up as just blame him for that.
Oh, is the writer of Shakespeare Code also a transphobe?
I think like Gareth Roberts.
Fuck.
I think he's a transphobe. I think he wrote like Unicorn and the Wasp and stuff. I know there's something shitty about him, and I think it's that.
That sounds definitely plausible.
It's disappointing.
Headline: Doctor Who writer Gareth Roberts talks vile, ignorant trash about trans women. God damn it.
You know what? Like,
hey, we've got Pedro Pascal and Adjoa Ando and her off Bridgerton and Derry Girls. If we lose Gareth Roberts, I'll take those three. That's fine.
Like what other writers for Doctor Who have actually turned out to be like big transphobes? Like, I can't actually think of any off the top of my head.
No, neither can I. I feel, it's disappointing because, Doctor Who, as with Star Trek and a bunch of shows like that, are supposed to be like bastions of kindness. And
I guess there's RTD, Moffat and Chibnall for not hiring any trans women for writers. I mean, there's Juno Dawson coming up, but that's in RTD too.
Yes. Like, I don't know if we can blame how much of that we can blame on the BBC being a boys' club. And it's all like fucking just they're all each other's friends, which is why RTD didn't want to roll back the fucking Timeless Child. Seeing the good in episodes. This feels like a gotcha. How do you feel about... What good can you see in the Timeless Child stuff? I'm interested.
Oh, I love it. I love it to bits.
Yeah. Go. What do you love about it?
All right. Well, it puts the Who in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, especially with like Chibnall's... like how he's putting the fact that he's adopted or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's just pouring that into the story, and the fact that it doesn't pay off in the way fans were expecting, but Chibnall clearly did everything he wanted to do with it, to the point that it didn't even really feature in the specials at the end of his era. That means he did tell a complete story. He said what he wanted to say with it. And that's fucking interesting, that makes it kind of powerful in a way that it didn't feel like it was at the time, because we thought we were going to get more, and we thought we knew where the story was going, but he told the story under our noses. And I love that, like him wrestling with like, just does it matter like how much of your history actually matters and stuff, and like how much do parents and like all that kind of biological family and all that, like that's resonant in a trans way, like
Totally.
God, yeah, I love the Timeless Child. I love it. What do you think?
I'm not a fan, but like, okay, Timeless Child. I don't think I even got to those episodes. I think I'd fallen off by that point, because Timeless Child's Chibnall's second series, right?
Yeah.
I think I watched Haunting of Villa Diodati. Oh, no. I'd fallen off before Villa Diodati. And then someone was like, Villa Diodati is the fucking best. And I went back and rewatched it and was like, okay. No, sorry, I watched it the first time. And I was like, yes.
Now, the Flux is the best.
I genuinely like the Weeping Angels episode in Flux.
It's the worst one out of all of them.
You fucking liar. I just hate so much that Jodes turns into a weeping angel, and then they just immediately roll it back at the start of the next episode and never touch it again.
Have you not learnt from Doctor Who? The journey is what is important. Have you not learnt from Moffat that like the payoff is never invest yourself in the payoff being good? As long as the journey is good, just hang on to that. This is the core lesson of Doctor Who.
I really like the payoffs for Series 5. I like the as a finale, I think Big Bang or whatever, this last episode of Series 5 is possibly my favourite one.
It is very good.
It is very good.
But the silence stuff is not satisfying. You know, it's set up really cool in the Series 6 two-parter at the start, and then, like, it's only disappointment after that. But that's okay.
It's, because, like, Moff really didn't do himself any favours there with having the explanation for what the shit is actually going on. I'm going to have to censor this so much. So what's actually going on to be in Smith's last fucking episode? Dear God, stop making your editing life harder, Mike. Because, like, okay, so in Smith's last episode, we learn that the Church of the Silence had a schism, and then that's what caused them to go and blow up the TARDIS. And also in that same episode, we learn that the reason they can wipe themselves from people's memory is because they're priests and take confessional, and therefore people forget what they've told the confessors. And I'm pretty sure that doesn't make sense, because
it makes all the sense, because the Silence, you know, put themselves at the start of human history and integrated themselves throughout and guided humanity to make a space or something. Yeah, and it makes no sense. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And, like, I'm not Catholic, but I think you're supposed to remember that you've gone to confession. I think that's quite important in the whole thing.
It does feel like it messes something about that, you know?
Moffat was definitely spinning too many plates, and he, like, I don't know if he had a plan for the Silence the whole way through, but if he did, he lost track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I have something I want to talk about.
What you got?
Okay. So, stories you believe actively make the world worse.
Hell yeah.
All right, so from my memory, there's the idiot's lantern because of Rose being told to go to, like, telling the kids to go to the abusive father.
Yeah.
And be like, you know, he's your dad. It doesn't matter if he's, like, an abusive cunt. Like.
Yeah.
And there's Boomtown because of the cop-out ending, is it?
Boomtown's whole thing being, it is, because you're enforcing consequences on my attempt to blow up the Earth 3 times, you're as bad as me.
Well, that's like the whole of Doctor Who does that moral.
No! Well, okay. No. That's a good thought. What else does that?
It does. Wait, what are we talking about?
So we're talking about.
You're as bad as me.
You're as bad. Yeah. So it's.
There's Davros. You pointed out the Davros thing. I name you Destroyer of Worlds. You are not the person to tell me this, bro.
Yeah, seriously. So Trope Dorks from Overly Sarcastic Productions did that as they called it We're Not So Different, You and I. And Red complains that, like, no one who ever is on the receiving end of that turns around and goes, "No, we're not. What are you talking about?" So we got Margaret Slevine and we got Davros. I've got my chart. Who else does it? So I feel like they drift close to it in Vampires of Venice, but they don't go the whole way.
I loved your analysis of that. Like, I really struggled to enjoy that story. I even shit on it in my first ever YouTube video.
Hey, I would have done this. I was expecting to go into it fucking hating it.
Oh,
and,
you know... Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it's time. I don't know if it's the ups and downs the show has had since. I don't know if I was in the wrong place to appreciate what it was doing. I don't know if it's just that there were a couple of dodgy bits right at the end. And because of a primary recency effect, that made me think of it in a worse way than it was. Anyway, I interrupted you.
Shit, I was just going to point out that the son in that episode, like the fish son, is trans.
That's so cool!
Not canonically or the actor or anything, but it is canonically if you look at it, because like all the other sons are in the water and can't tell the difference between the mum in her human form and whatnot. So like clearly there's like, you know, female male divide in a way that the son has clearly transitioned and is using a perception filter in order to transition into his actual gender.
That's cool.
Amongst other things, but yeah.
So I'm a big I studied English literature, not that it fucking shows, and so I'm a really big fan of rooting stuff in the text, and you did that perfectly just then. Good job. That's a I really like that. I'm gonna go back and rewatch that shit.
Welcome to my Doctor Who theories. They're all incredibly well founded, apart from like this shit. Like when I'm like, the Sycorax are space Nazis because their language sounds kind of German.
Yeah. English. So, God, one of my friends studied German, but at English schools, and so was really used to German being presented by World War II films and British teenagers. And I had to get her to actually watch some German films. Das Experiment is a really messed up film in a few ways, but listening to the characters talk is so lovely, and it's so lyrical, and I feel like I'm getting hugged by a really soft blanket whenever I watch that film, which I haven't done for a while. But yeah, so the sense of vibes coming from the way the Sycorax talk, linking to that specifically, that's cool. I like that.
Oh, by the way, I just as a general theory again,
yeah.
I believe that most of the species in the universe have realized that a very important thing in life is to be rad as hell. If there's something you can't explain, it's probably because the species thought it would be rad.
Okay.
Weeping angels can move faster than you can possibly imagine.
Yep.
So when they've got the light switch that's going on and off, they're zapping to the light, turning it on and off again, and then pulling different poses and stuff. Because they just want to be fucking gnarly as fuck. It's great.
Similarly, when Amy is walking through the forest in the spaceship in 506 or whatever it is, the second Weeping Angels episode from series 5. They don't move faster than you can imagine. They turn and move quite slowly. And
don't think about it, Morty.
No, from that perspective, they are being predators. They are toying with this poor duck.
Okay, all right, have a think about it. The Doctor says that they are the only species in the universe to kill you kindly.
Yep.
So what if they are actually genuinely being kind? They're we will be rad as hell before using you as our food source. Are humans kind to our food? No, we're not. Weeping angels are kind.
Shit. That's good.
Yeah.
God damn. Yes. So, do you have the same opinion that whenever Moff brought the Weeping Angels back, he made them less good, less special?
Yeah, but suddenly every change that was made to the Weeping Angels is sort of crystallized in beautiful form when Chibnall uses them or Maxine Alderton uses them in Village of the Angels. Because suddenly all of it comes together, and they even add the odd bit they have telekinesis, that's why they can mess with light switches and stuff.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's it just comes together in just infinite majesty.
I really loved at the time the section where the drawing of the Weeping Angel that's in the fireplace takes itself out of the fireplace and starts actually morphing into a Weeping Angel. Now, I don't know if that was me going, oh, hey, a thing I'm connecting with in flux. I'm lucky to have this. I'm going to latch onto it. Or if it's actually good.
Oh, I mean, who knows?
Who knows? I mean, to be fair, you're less of a fan of that episode.
Well, last time I watched it was my best watching of it ever, and so I am particularly a fan of it at the moment.
Okay, cool. Do you reckon it's going to go up or down on the next watch?
Who knows? I hope it goes up, because it's my favourite series of Doctor Who.
Really?
Every single episode is S tier, apart from Village of the Angels, which reached... I re-rank every story every time I watch them.
Oh wow!
Based on my last watch. So currently, every single episode of Flux is S tier for the first time ever. And I love Halloween Apocalypse. It's an episode-long trailer of the whole series, and it's the hypest thing I've ever seen.
I can't remember which one that is.
Once Upon a Time is it depicts dreamlikeness in a way that, like, there's very little media that actually depicts what it's like to be in a dream. There's the first episode of The Edge of Destruction, which is the third story of the entire show.
Oh God.
And there's Once Upon a Time, and that's the only ones that really feel like a dream for me. And that's awesome.
Being dreamlike is really fucking hard to do.
Yeah.
Video games keep doing it, and they always fail because video games are based on a certain amount of logic, especially if they include gameplay. And having that level of logic is anathema to dreams. Oh, God, the Peter Capaldi Christmas episode.
Last Christmas.
Yeah, Last Christmas.
The best Christmas episode ever. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, Nick Frost, man. Like, I think I agree with that now. But that's mostly because I've rewatched Christmas Carol too much.
Yeah, that's right. It's the woke answer, apart from Nick Frost now. Goddamn.
Is Nick Frost not woke? God damn it. What's he done?
I believe he's going... I think he might be playing Hagrid or something in the new Harry Potter series. He's playing someone. He's on the cast list.
God damn it.
I know, right?
Nick, don't. That's a real shame, because he was in a show called Into the Badlands, which is a martial arts epic with Daniel Wu as the main guy, and Nick Frost really competently does a bunch of martial arts fights. I'm like, Nick, when did you learn to do this?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's I was really surprised. Oh, damn it, Nick, I'm so disappointed in you.
How is your energy levels at the moment?
It's doing all right. Yeah. We're doing okay.
Like, is 2 hours roughly how you're projecting your energy levels to be still?
2 might be pushing it. We'll see. Like,
cool.
Yeah.
I would like to focus in on the thing
Let's
that I was
focus.
trying to talk to initially.
Hell yeah. What you got?
Okay, so, stories that you say...
Yes! Make the world worse.
Yeah. I have a counterpoint, and it's Team America.
Please. Oh, God. Yes, go ahead.
So, Team America, when you come out of that film, you don't come out of that film thinking, wow, America was right to invade Iraq. You think America was bad, even though the moral of that film is America was right, and it is right to do what it does. You don't remember that because the critique is so much more powerful than their answer to it all.
So, I think Team America World Police and a lot of material like it is an exercise in fence sitting.
Yeah.
But that's mostly because I don't like the, we make fun of everyone so it's okay thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely that. But
yeah.
That's not what hits. The fence setting isn't what hits. It's the stuff that's critical of America, which is what hits. What lodges in your brain.
So I've only watched it once, back when it came out. I really like the opening. That's stuck in my brain. My memory's fucked, man. As you know from my goddamn...
Mine too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I got really wound up by Parker and Stone's depiction of Michael Moore, but I was on the Michael Moore train at the time. So that will have had something to do with it. But, like...
Yeah, that pissed me off at the time too.
I would also put Team America World Police in media that makes the world worse, just because of this. Well, because of offense setting. So, like, I think it's perfectly valid. Fuck that. It's awesome to come away with it with this feeling of power and like feeling of it's awesome that the systems that were presented in this film in such a shit way were being criticized, which they were.
More so than any other mainstream sort of film at the time, right?
Yeah, so it was a couple years before V for Vendetta, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Russell T Davies did Massive Weapons of Destruction, which I love him for. I think Team America World Police was probably the biggest, most mainstream thing that really took certain things to task, that really needs to be taken to task. Yeah, I can see that.
All right, so my point...
Yeah, go.
My point for Doctor Who is that... All right, so the Idiot's Lantern, the endorsing of sticking with toxic parents and stuff, in the way it does. You know, I mean, maybe it's just because that thing never really stood out to me. I never focused on it that much. The thing that like sticks in my mind is the feeling of being in that abusive household. And Doctor Who's like very rarely done like a feeling of actually making me feel in my body what it's like to be abused. The only other time is really with Colin Baker and Perry.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, so Colin Baker's got a companion who, like, and many people will deny that it's abuse, and that's something that makes that incredibly valuable, because you feel the abuse and you know it's abuse and stuff, but, like, the fact that some people sort of see it and be like, that's not abuse, that's very valuable. And this Idiot's Lantern isn't as subtle as that in any way, but the fact that it feels like abuse, and I can actually like that helps me triangulate what abuse feels like, and I genuinely find that incredibly useful. It's not all abuse that feels that way, but like
for me, the closest I've got for a piece of media making me feel like how abuse felt to me was the Japanese Ring films.
I can't handle horror. Doctor Who can be a bit much for me sometimes.
That's entirely fair. So, obviously everyone's reaction to abuse is very different. My reaction was always disassociation, freeze response. So, in the Ring films, stuff happens, and it's the stuff that happens is it's a surprise, but it's also unknowable and unstoppable, and so it's got this such crushing, oppressive atmosphere. The first film and the second one to a certain extent feel like you're sort of being crushed tighter and tighter into a small box, or like in a fucking nutcracker. That gets it for me. Oh god, The Grudge missed it anyway. Sorry, you don't watch horror, that's fine. So, with Idiot's Lantern, in your comment for that episode, you were talking about the Dutch angles in Idiot's Lantern.
I love Dutch angles. Queer angles is what I call them.
Yes. So, a lot of the shots of the dad are done in Dutch angle. Now, my understanding of Dutch angles is they're often done to show that the world is sort of off-kilter.
Yeah.
So, where does the shots of the dad being queer angles fit with that?
I mean, it's just a silly thing calling them queer angles.
I'm being too granular. That's on me.
I just, it's boring to just do everything with right angles. You gotta just like queer it up.
You gotta have a good time. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, it's not a deep thing.
Oh, no, that's fine. This is very much like how I go, ooh, an interesting idea. Let's fucking get into that shit.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be like that, Mike. It's fine. Idiot's Lantern. Yes, so.
I guess maybe you could say that the Dutch angle is representative of how being queer sort of puts the whole world at a bit of a Dutch angle, like the heteronormativity of the world.
If you wanted to maintain the idea that Dutch angles are supposed to show that things are off in some way, you could make the argument that the Dutch angle isn't showing that the dad is wrong. You could make the argument that the families, the queer angle is from a family's perspective, so it is showing you how the family see things.
Yeah.
You could we get in, so with the go on, forgive your abuser, hun thing, because you're right, it doesn't stand out. Like, I only noticed it on the most recent rewatch when I've noticed a whole bunch of different things, but I didn't notice the first time around. And like, by definition, most of that stuff doesn't matter because it took me so long to notice. But it sort of leads us to the question of, okay, let's say Gareth Roberts wasn't a transphobe, because good old JK doesn't ruin Shakespeare Code. It's a bit. What the fuck, dude? Don't do that.
It's a silly quirk of its time.
Yeah.
And then Chibnall returns to Harry Potter, and it's like, Chibi boy, no,
don't do that.
Oh no, bro, no.
So there's definitely going to be lines for everyone in terms of what they think takes things too far, and it's fine to have that forgive your abuser thing and go, they're trying to put a nice spin on the end of the episode. It's not that deep, bro. I
think my point being it's harder to objectively say this makes the world worse because the actual impact of the story isn't necessarily the text of the story.
Yeah.
Like, for example, my other example is with Boomtown. Like, and it's a less strong example. Like, I can... but the fact that... Right, what do my notes say? Sorry, my brain's just going...
Oh, mate, it happens.
All right. So my notes are, Boomtown has an unsatisfying cop-out ending, but the entertaining of the ideas is itself powerful even if it lacks answers. The question is more powerful than the answer. And it is frustrating, but...
I agree completely that the ideas that Boomtown is trying to play... That's judgy. The question of, we have Margaret Slevine, we want to take her back to be... Taraxco or Cofola Pretorius and get judged. Yeah. And then her going, they have the death penalty. That is a very, very good setup.
Yeah.
And so I agree completely that as a question is so good. It loses me hard when they don't consider any other options.
Yeah, no, your analysis is excellent of it. I fully agree. Yeah. I don't know if it actively makes the world worse because, for me, when I really loved that story when I first saw it, and Same. I still do. Like, the fact that they ask these questions, especially when I didn't think about it too much, it was I was like, yes, this is the kind of questions that are meaty, and I want to be explored. And I was always so frustrated with just, let's turn her into an egg at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I think both Boomtown and Idiot's Lantern make the world worse in those instances is partly because a lot of these parts fly under the radar. Like the Forgive Your Dad thing in Idiot's Lantern is 1 or 2 lines. And the moral pontificating in Boomtown is the political orthodoxy. It's neoliberal politics, which is, we're stuck in an impossible situation, so let's not do anything and help something shows up. So
that's what happens in the Series 7 story with the gunslinger.
Town Called Mercy.
Yeah, where the guy just kills himself in the end, and it's like, I guess we don't need to deal with that.
Yeah, I hated that episode at the time and haven't rewatched it, which is real disappointing now because it's Toby Stevens?
Whithouse.
Toby Stevens is Captain Flint from Black Sails. Yes, thank you. I'm not looking forward to rewatching that one. So,
I'm kind of looking forward to you rewatching it just in case you realise, oh my god, this is actually amazing. And I'm here for it.
Maybe. I know it's got a fucking... Oh, God. It's got an otherkin jibe in it.
Really?
If I remember right, it's like someone's like...
Yeah, because the first trans... fucking... The Susan... Wait, you mean the Susan horse that
That's what
wants you to respect his life choices?
Yeah. I got a nasty feeling that was a Moffat edition, because
It feels so Moffat.
does a bit in the novelization of Day of the Doctor. He uses that line in the novelization, which is weird. And
His life choices, or
Sorry?
Well, like with the Susan thing, he says his life choices, despite clearly trying to gender the horse as woman.
Yeah, so he does that same joke, which is taking someone who the audience has presumed has gender A, and then the Doctor goes, "Oh, I'm taking his character and saying my gender B. I respect their life choices." I know it might have been something that doesn't have gender. I can't remember. I should have looked it up.
The first trans character in Doctor Who, maybe, I don't know, I guess it's Cassandra, whatever. In Moffat Who. But then you've got the fish guy.
Ooh. Cassandra is a weird character, man. I'm really...
Yeah.
So, I have to apologise, because I say something man as a tick, and that shit could be misgendering, and I need to apologise for that shit.
Oh, I trust the transes.
Yeah, I know. It's why having gendered... it's not a tick. Ticks are something else. Having gendered, like, things that are just as part of your reflexive speech, not a great idea! Anyway.
Yeah, I rule against it when people use dude. I'm just like, no.
Yeah. I've struggled with... we're getting distracted again. Cassandra. No, yeah, okay, wrong. Okay. Make the world worse. Right. So... obviously there are so many more like terrible examples, so I think they make both those examples make the world worse because people can watch the show, and because what is happening isn't particularly remarkable, or in the case of Idiot's Lantern even particularly significant.
Yeah,
it feels insidious in that what is happening on screen isn't really remarked upon or like given the attention it deserves, and then just left like that. And so people can watch the episode and it reinforces bad shit that people have learned, or it can like plant ideas in case of Forgive You Abuser that ideally shouldn't be planted, particularly in a family show.
Yeah, I mean, Council of Geeks absolutely deplores the episode because of that moment, and I'm not defending that moment as making the world better in any way. I guess I was just reacting to the idea that you can definitively be like, this makes the world worse, when, like, you know, I have very positive experiences of these episodes that have actually helped me.
Totally. Yeah. Well, this is one of the... I think that, especially with Doctor Who, because it's such a weird show, because it's such an inconsistent show, it's really hard to have objective opinions. Hey, that's a contradiction. Yeah. So this is, like, of all the things that I need to have a big flashing sign behind everything I say that just has, in my opinion, really in big letters. And everything is always our opinions, but, like... I do feel that in stuff like this, it really needs highlighting. Like, what I am expressing is, I had an emotional reaction to that. And my follow-up to that was, I did not like that moment. And I also don't particularly like what it does in a metatextual societal sort of thing. Hence the conclusion, it makes the world worse. And... I don't want anyone who likes that episode to in any way have that colour their opinion, because it's like, not least because you're a survivor. I'll ask that in a sec. I've got a question about like how you like to self-describe, because I read an article about how people like consider themselves as people who have gone through abuse, because like I don't necessarily consider myself a survivor, because like partly I didn't, and also it doesn't quite match up with what happened to me.
It's not a term I'm drawn to, and I've never really been asked this question before. Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind it, I guess, but also I don't love it.
Yeah, that tracks with more or less where I'm coming from as well. Also, we absolutely don't need to do any more talking about this shit if you don't want to. Things that should go without saying, but should nevertheless probably be stated anyway, given we're meeting for the first time. So, especially given your history, it, like, is just so much not my place to influence how you feel about that goddamn episode based on what my specific objection is. So, like, are there any episodes of Doctor Who that you feel get really cratered by one moment? I apologise for this now feeling like a quiz.
Cratered by a single moment.
Like the Forgive Your Dad thing.
Like, I want to say the Zygon two-parter, but that's not a single moment. That's almost everything it does.
I love those episodes. I haven't rewatched them for a while, though.
Try to, like, watch it and try to work out what it's talking about, because they sort of bring in, like, sort of ISIS parallels, but also seem to be talking about, like, immigrants or asylum seekers, or... But, like, also, like, people who, like, they're dealing with, like, Zygons who have, like, been born in this country and are being forced to hide themselves. So there's, like, even, like, trans allegories to go with. And, like, none of it is good. And the fear-mongering about, like, they could be your neighbor. They could be anyone. And that's terrifying. Like... And then the Doctor, like, when they, like, the Zygons do, like, a violent uprising, are like, look, we don't want to be hiding our true selves. And the Doctor's like, this is childish. Like, that speech that everyone loves is the way the Doctor is just like, so what? Life isn't fair. And it's like, they have such legitimate grievances, and, like... And the Doctor just abandons them, and you know what happens as a result? They just go back to hiding. There's not, like, the status quo is sustained. It's a horrible, horrible episode. So I hate it's the Doctor's reaction, the speech that the Doctor gives, which in abstract, yeah, war, horrible, bad.
Yeah.
But in practicality, you're just silencing these voices, and the fact that they're like, we've had about, like, 16 of these revolutions, and we've all managed to squash them. But, you know, let's go back to status quo. This is fine.
So good. That sounds like that will fulfill the requirement of, oh boy, this makes the world worse. Are you familiar with the sociological concepts of the melting pot and the salad bowl? What? Super briefly, it's so you're right with your set of things the episode is about, which is, but, like, fundamentally, I think,
and it's about the Muslims as well. Just none of it's good. Yeah.
The melting pot theory of sociology is minority communities should integrate into the majority.
Yeah.
So like, it's good that curry is a British staple now, because we have taken that from, like, the immigrants, etc.
But it's about integrating, not assimilating. Right?
Let me...
like, it's not about erasing everything you are. It's about mixing it all together.
Yeah.
Whereas Zygons are just hiding what they are and becoming just fully human.
So the salad bowl, to contrast, is we're all our own things.
Yeah.
Individual pieces of salad / fruit. And so we all have our own cultural identities, and together we make something stronger.
I mean, I think they're both true. There's truth in both of them, right?
Oh yeah, totally. But, like, if we were to use the Zygons as our lens from this, we could say that that's more melting potty from the perspective of it's become one sort of gelatinous soup, which is relatively indistinguishable from everything else.
I want to scream.
But, like, I agree that's not necessarily what the theory is about sociologically. Because I don't remember that speech from your description of it, that sounds like I'll fucking hate that thing.
Oh,
which is a shame.
Yeah, people love the speech, but I don't know, it feels very surface level, their view of it. It's just like, no, the context of the episode is important, and the Zygons are not the oppressors here.
Yeah, but so they're taking the idea that the Cylons have done a violence. Zygons have done a violence, and therefore they're
the Flag
the wrong
Smashers.
ones.
The Flag Smashers from the MCU.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but
by reputation.
I do.
It's Killmonger. It's
Oh,
you know.
God, yeah.
Oh, they did a violence. Oh well, they're invalid now.
So I've got the transcript from the Doctor's speech. You just want cruelty to beget cruelty. You're not superior to people who were cruel to you. You're just a whole bunch of new cruel people. A whole bunch of new cruel people being cruel to some other people who will end up being cruel to you. The only way someone can live in peace is if they're prepared to forgive. Why don't you break the cycle?
So why don't trans people just hide who they are and become stealth and, just forgive the cis and be like cis and, just pretend we're cis and isn't that great? Doesn't that just warm your heart? Isn't that so inspiring? Isn't that the greatest speech in Doctor Who fucking history?
There's a whole lot going on in there, isn't there? If I'm going to try and defend the speech, I'd say that it's about breaking the cycle of violence. So,
it's a beautiful
don't
speech
become the new oppressors. However,
context.
I do think you're correct.
Yeah, without context, the speech is beautiful. There will be a context where that speech is beautiful and perfect.
But the context is the Zygons have been trying to free themselves from having to live, in the closet.
Yeah, like there's no angle. It's good. It's just it's the great speech in the wrong episode.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad. Well, I'm not looking forward to rewatching that one then.
Well, like the thing about this story is, it's like if you extract yourself from all the politics, it is a pretty fun story.
Yeah.
And like for most of Doctor Who, I'm able to just be like, yeah, you know what, kill the moon. It's like kind of problematic, isn't it? But it's one of my favorite stories. One of my favorite stories.
I also haven't rewatched that one.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Like, I love
You can't get 80% of the world to agree on anything. Why do you think they'd all turn the lights off to kill the moon? You're weird.
Well, in fairness, it's only the government and the council. It's the people on the upper hierarchy of the people in control of all the lights which really make that decision.
Oh, so you think that it was like the grid was shutting things down rather than individual people turning the lights off?
Presumably, but I
don't know. I haven't rewatched it since 2000, whenever it was.
And I think just because it's an imperfect way of asking the Earth, it was the only way they could communicate with the Earth. So it's like they were doing their best, and I think that's fine. Obviously, you're only asking the side of the Earth that's pointing at you.
Yes.
But as I say, what else could they do?
So if you're reading the sound and that it is the governments that were turning the lights off, I agree. That's fine. At the time, I saw it as the cities were sort of voting.
Yeah, that's how it plays out. That's how it's supposed to be read. The world is deciding, kill it.
Yeah.
And then an act of humanity saves it.
And they then never do anything with it again. God damn it, what the fuck?
I
really love that Doctor Who constantly moves to new places and new times, but it could really do with being more grounded in certain times and places, because it lets us check back in with this stuff. See also Waters of Mars. Yeah, that would be so cool if Doctor Who cared about world building. Yeah. Just have... It's almost like you only get world building within a single era. And that's just how Doctor Who be. And maybe one day there'll be Doctor Who with really good world building, and we'll love it for that, instead of just the RTD1 era being the best one for world building so far. Definitely. So the first series definitely had the best focus on it because it was such a single location show, like Earth and Satellite 5, and that's it. I wonder if Pertwee's era was better for it because Pertwee was stuck on Earth.
What did they actually develop? Like, what was the continuity there? Was there much? There was just the Doctor remembering that the brig killed the Silurians once or twice.
I don't know if there was any stuff that carried over from story arc to story arc. Probably not, because it really wasn't that sort of show at the time.
I'm watching through the era at the moment, and
how are you finding it?
Well, the thing about the Pertwee's era, it's probably the most consistent in quality that the show's ever been.
Damning with fate praise.
Well, no, it's like lots of A-tier episodes, not much in the way of S-tier episodes, you know? It's not faint praise. And I value it for how unique it is. The fact that the Doctor uses Venusian Aikido a bunch it puts the rest of the show in such a hilarious light, because it means the Doctor's basically like, I could use Venusian Aikido to get out of this, but that's not fun.
I'm not going to.
I like hard mode, and I'm going to do it that way.
I love how Pertwee wanted to be an action hero, and so they did Venusian Aikido, and he got a hover car. And
yes!
Oh man, it's so cute. I love it so much.
Yeah, and the Sea Devil story is like, you know, he loves his Navy stuff, and the Sea Devils is all about being in the Navy, so like, you know, just Pertwee was loving it.
Oh yeah, God, Pertwee's a really interesting guy. There's a radio thing that I wound up with somehow called An Evening with the Doctor, which is just him running through various eras of his life and talking about how he got expelled out of the Navy. It's like, oh God, you did a lot, didn't you, bud?
Yeah. Right, okay, what were we talking about in terms of Doctor Who?
We were doing things that made the world worse. And I feel like you did a really good case for Zygon inversion coming under that radar. So would you say that the Zygon invasion makes the world worse because of that thing, the speech?
I think the whole story makes the world worse because of how it depicts all of the minorities that I described, the Muslims, the asylum seekers, immigrants, trans people, anything you can pin to that story. It's not good.
And so it would be fair to say that you don't feel that way about Boomtown because it's not actually targeting groups. It's targeting, it's not even really targeting anyone. It's depicting a fucked up moral situation and sort of living inside the world it's created and having a very, very defined story space rather than doing what Zygon Invasion does, which is trying to do real world parallels to the groups you mentioned and not doing it well.
Yeah, the Zygon's two-parter really invites you to ask what it's paralleling.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Kill the Moon, it isn't obviously the message isn't good when you think about it, but the episode doesn't really make you think about it in terms of abortion. It's more science fantasy, and
how do you find the gods? Sorry, just because you brought up science fantasy in the RTD2 era.
Love it. It's nice to see Doctor Who, branching out, doing something a bit different.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for.
I suppose I've struggled with the execution. Because you're right, doing gods isn't a bad, to be fair.
As a musician, Maestro is so disappointing.
Yeah.
Although I have a whole video where I rehabilitate my relationship with Maestro, and I'm like, no, music is all about movement and moving people and stuff, and that's why Maestro is so extra, because they're trying to move you emotionally and stuff, and it's not about how good it sounds. That's not the point. Them breaking the violin at the end of the music battle, that was them smashing up their instrument at the end, like The Who. That's them winning the music battle, not losing it, because they understand what music is. But gymnastics.
Well, this is the thing. So gymnastics can be interesting. Have you seen Matrix 4?
I love it.
I love it. I thought it was good when I watched it in the cinema, and on the second watch, I went, "Oh shit, this is really good."
Yeah, I watched it the other day, and like, you know how the Matrix, I love the Matrix trilogy so much, especially like the third one. But the ideas in it never resonated. Like the love between Trinity and Neo always just felt so hollow. The whole trans allegory shit, like, it doesn't resonate with me on an emotional level. But Matrix 4 does. It really brings that all together and makes it worth so much more and hits me emotionally, and I just love it so much.
I agree completely. The reason I brought it up is the fights in Matrix 4 are the worst in any of the Matrix films, in my opinion.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, go on.
Just how bad they are, and I love the Merovingian being like, we used to have art. And I don't know, there's something I really like about, you get the guy who plays John Wick, who can do amazing fight scenes, and you get his power to be a sort of energy push, and that feels like an intentional choice. Like, it's about, being empowered as a trans person, being able to just like have all this like cishet bullshit thrown at you, and you can just stop it with your energy push and stop it from affecting you in a way that, like, it doesn't. It's powerful, I
just got hit by a wave of, because I hadn't thought of it like that. I just got a wave of, wouldn't that be amazing? So the argument I have heard, well, no, right. After my first watch of Matrix 4, I heard the argument that they had the John Wick guy on set. Lana, I think, was the director. I can't remember if it was Lana or Lily, I forget.
I think it's Lana, but I don't know.
They know what the fuck they're doing. So they could have done really amazing fight scenes if they wanted to. Therefore, the fact that the fight scenes are kind of crap is at least kind of a point. And so I was unconvinced by that because it's kind of metatextual. And then I rewatched it. I went, oh no, shit, I think they're right. Because The Matrix 4 is about so many things, and none of those themes would have been, like, improved by having really kick-ass fight scenes. You could make the argument that really amazing fight scenes really distracted from the message of the first three.
Yeah, and you get the whole like planning meeting with the people who are like, all right, what is the Matrix? The Matrix is kick-ass action, bullet time, all that kind of stuff. And the whole film is like a reaction against that, like kind of like, nah. It's so fucking masterful.
I'm really happy that I liked it more on the second watch. Oh god. Anyway, I love it. Anyway, sorry. So, but bringing it back, you are watching Pertwee Zero.
Yeah.
Doctor Who has a history of really shit fight scenes. How do the fight scenes make you feel in Pertwee Zero?
Oh, I mean, Doctor Who has a history of. It always frustrates me that the action in Doctor Who is not better than it is, but also there's a lot of really cool action in Doctor Who. Like when Pertwee does the Venusian Aikido while having like a glass of wine, like stuff like that. When he fights the Master in the Sea Devils, and the Master's like got him over a table with the swords, and he's like, you're good, but you're not that good enough, Doctor. And the Doctor's like, yeah, but you haven't seen the quality of my footwork, and just kicks the Master across the room. Like, there is such great action within Doctor Who. The frustrating thing is that generally it's very short. Doctor Who doesn't like to do long action scenes, and if it does, they don't tend to stick in the mind that much.
Yeah.
And that's just how it be, sadly.
And it is a low budget show. They don't have the money to actually send Arthur Darvill to fight camp for 2 weeks for that one scene in A Good Man Goes to War.
Yeah, or the monks in Tooth and Claw.
Oh, yeah, the monks, bless them.
The Fist of Man.
The sword fight in both the Sycorax episode and The Girl Who Waited. The Girl Who Waited's one might actually be the worst sword fight I've seen.
Oh, I love that, the sword fight. It's like, it's so flashy and fun.
It is like
one of
evocative of what they're doing. Sorry, go on.
One of my favourite tropes in Doctor Who, which I think they only do twice, but it's amazing
Yeah.
both times they do it. When you get just a regular painting in a frame and you smash it over someone's head and that takes them out. Amy or Rory, someone does it in that fight scene you're talking about, and there's also a Key to the Key to Time series in classic Doctor Who.
Yeah.
There's a story called The Androids of Tara, and it's one of the funniest stories in Doctor Who. Like someone, like an evil guy is like gonna like kill this woman, and then I think Romana comes up, or maybe I don't know, someone comes up and just smashes him with does the same thing with the painting, and he just is like, oh, I'm so dazed.
Oh
And
my
it's
god.
great.
Sorry, I've looked it up while you were talking.
Which one?
Androids of Tara. She smashes. Oh my god, it's amazing.
It's so hype. It's like sometimes Doctor Who just gets to be fun, and that's great.
Yep. I will go, like, I need to actually watch this episode to get the full context, but I will go to the walls for this moment alone. Like,
It's, the thing about this story is it's not funny that often, but when the jokes happen, they are hilarious.
okay, I want to talk about this with basically everyone I meet because I'm really interested in the difference. And apparently this, like, really works for Androids of Tara, right? Because it's not funny often, but when it does, it works. What is the difference between a varied tone and an inconsistent tone? Sorry, is this too technical?
What? A varied tone and an inconsistent tone.
So, like, your varied tone, if we look at a series, if we look at Clara's last series, we've got some fun shit going on, but we also got the episode where Capaldi is tortured relentlessly for the entire run of the episode. And, like, oh, that's dark. Versus something which is just kind of all over the place. In my opinion, Haunting of Villa Diodati has a really inconsistent tone because the atmosphere...
it's really weird.
Yeah, the quips. Like, guys, you're in danger. You could die. Take it more seriously, please. Other than that, the atmosphere is fucking impeccable. I wish they'd held back about 20%. So that's what I'm talking about.
I think, like, for inconsistent tone, you can point to It Takes You Away as it is just 3 different stories patched together.
Yeah?
Maybe 4 if you want to think that the frog bit's also different. And, like, it is frustrating because they are all solid stories, but they don't come together to make it greater than the sum of its parts, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, something I really look for in Doctor Who is, like, the promise of Doctor Who for me is just that it can be completely different episode to episode. And that's what I crave. So that's why I like the Gods, because they open the opportunity to do something very different. And I think people who love writing and love filmmaking especially, they really love Doctor Who. Like, so many Doctor Who fans are into filmmaking. Like, my Doctor Who Society, the local one, like, so many filmmakers there. Because just the promise of Doctor Who is so powerful as a storytelling tool.
It's not... So I did my thing of how I'd run Doctor Who. Since sitting with that, I realised I was actually asking for the wrong question, which is, what would I do if I was given a budget and, like, make something like Doctor Who? And one of the things I'd do is probably dial back on that possibility space a bit initially. Because you're completely correct. Like, you've no idea where any of this is going is one of the things that makes it just amazing to watch. But it is also a massive challenge for every writer.
I really want to... I've got a thing that I want to do one day called Devil's Gun, which is basically a gun that, like, if you shoot someone, their death creates a rupture in space-time, which lets you go to wherever you wanted to go at the moment that you shot them. And time can, like, the past and future can be changed a bunch, and, like, the world... And I'm also, like, you know how, I don't know if you know this, but, like, Chibnall made time itself an entity, and I kind of want to make time itself an entity in this thing, so that So that time can sort of just work out like how it wants stuff to pan out a bit. So like all the like weird paradoxes you get of time travel and stuff. Time itself is sort of just having a bit of fun with it, and yeah.
If you're going to include time travel, that is one of the most elegant ways of doing it, which is not trying to rationalize things. It's by going, yeah, time is a person, therefore don't worry about it. Like, well, no, not even don't worry about it. Like, time is a person, they have a personality, like, therefore certain things are going to matter to them and certain things aren't. That's a good idea. So does the gun like also act? So are you also firing a bullet into someone so you have to do a bad thing in order to time travel?
Yeah,
cool
I guess
idea.
so. You know, it's kind of like Death Note in that way.
Yeah. Well, oh God, I haven't. I tried to rewatch that like a ways back and just went, oh God, now I'm just sad. I like the idea of having an extremely powerful thing, but you have to be quite careful about when you choose to use it because you shouldn't be doing that lightly.
Yeah, and it just opens itself up to like any sort of story you want to tell. You can just like, in the first episode, I want to like go to hell and then go to heaven. I want to kill God, and then God, because they can't be killed, recreates the universe, but with a piano about to fall on the person who kills them before they get killed. And then the God gets the gun, goes to Earth, and it's like, okay, let's look around. And God's like gonna like take out the entirety of like, it's just gonna be like, okay, this is a bad idea. I'm gonna wipe you all out. But then like God starts, because like God's a robot, and you know, robots like are like the ultimate moral life form, and they are the only beings really capable of appreciating music, but the only music they like is EDM. So God goes to Earth and finds out that like begins to expand their musical tastes, and they're like, okay, maybe these people should survive because I don't know, I'm kind of expanding my musical taste, and this is kind of awesome.
So are you diagnosed with ADHD or?
No, I don't know if I have ADHD. I'm diagnosed with autism, but
Hell yeah.
Who knows if I have ADHD.
There's a lot of comorbidity. I was just thinking because like, oh, that went places. There are like, I was at a literary festival thing when I was trying to sell books. This is before I knew about the autism and went, oh God, yeah, it turns out I'm a terrible salesperson. Someone comes up, would I like this book? I went, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, this one's quite good. No, mate, you're supposed to say they're all good. But yeah, I was talking to some tween, I think, and we were talking about massively overpowered stories where everything's turned up to 11 the whole time. And I was going, yeah, I find them too much. And the story you just described wasn't everything turning up to 11 the whole time. It was actually really focused, but it was also going, and don't get me wrong, that's awesome. But I think I'd be watching that going, what?
I mean, I missed out some bits in it, you know?
Oh, yeah. I don't get me wrong. I'm assuming what you just described was the first 3 episodes of a 12-episode series.
First 2 episodes.
First 2, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's always a mission statement of you can go anywhere and do anything.
Yeah. As long as it's a gravel quarry in Wales.
Absolutely.
Oh God, Alistair Beckett King's sketch. You can go anywhere, do anything. London, anywhere at all. Present day London, please.
Yeah, so it gets just increasingly funny when the Doctor's like, yeah, this is all of time and space. We can go anywhere next episode. And it's like, sure we can, Doctor. Sure.
Yeah, he takes Rory and Amy, after Amy tried to do a bad thing to the Doctor, to just Venice in the 1500s. And like, don't get me wrong, that's cool. But I feel like if you were going to do one thing to try and give them an adventure and re-cement them as a relationship couple, I wouldn't necessarily go to Venice in the 1500s.
Yeah, it doesn't feel meaty as a thing that the Doctor's like, go here, this is romantic. Like, it doesn't tell us anything about the Doctor, which is kind of boring.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I keep going interesting. Yeah, the Doctor in Smith's first series is really interesting. I really identify with the absolute excitement, like the joy of being alive, but also him fairly frequently really not getting the emotions of the people he's talking to. Oh, you're ASC. How do you feel about the idea that both Matt Smith's Doctor and Peter Capaldi's Doctor are on different points of the autistic spectrum?
I mean, isn't everyone on different points of the autism spectrum? What does that mean to say that?
That's a whole thing. I think ideally the answer's no, because then that's like bringing ballistic people in.
No, I mean everyone who's autistic.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, what? So like autism can be expressed.
There's no
like
two
infinitely by
autism
Doctor
that
Who
is the
characters.
same, right?
Sorry?
There's no two autism that's the same, right? I like.
Yeah, totally.
I like interpreting the Doctor as neurodiverse. I think that's great. I don't always see it that way. Like the Capaldi's like struggling with hugs.
Yeah.
Personally, I've got this thing that like my theory that I've come up with that is the most enriching for Doctor Who is the idea that the Doctor mind melds via touch, and Capaldi is actually being respectful of boundaries and by being evasive of hugs. It just makes every time that the Doctor actually makes physical contact with someone kind of more significant.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, no, I love that kind of reading. It's not something I mean, I don't know. Yeah, no, they're good. Whatever.
Yeah, and that's cool. Yeah,
I'm far more interested in trans readings of stuff.
Hell yeah.
Because you really have to read into stuff for that. I had an idea earlier today where I was like, I kind of want to go through every story of Doctor Who and work out why it's a trans allegory.
I think you can do that.
Absolutely.
Starting from the top, 101 Rose. Why is Rose a trans allegory? I've put us on the spot now.
All right, so are we saying that Rose is the trans, that Doctor's the trans, or that the Nestene consciousness is the trans? I think we can... Right, let's assume that the Nestene consciousness is the cis. Rose is an egg that is uncracked.
Yeah.
The Doctor is a trans. Even though, like, my broad theory is that Eccleston is an egg.
I was going to say, yeah, if anyone's definitely with what Eccleston's arc is sort of, having him be an egg in Rose would make a lot of sense.
But like specifically in terms of Rose, yeah, I think like the Doctor's an out trans person from like this magical world that the Rose is like. Thanks, Mickey. This person, like everyone who I knew before I came out as trans, I became more distanced from.
Yeah.
After that point, so it makes sense that she's like, "Oh, thanks, Mickey," and he's like, "What for?" And she's like, "Nothing, bye."
Yeah.
Because otherwise he'd do that to her.
I fucking hate that. Like, sorry. It's being distant from your friend, not the Rose thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's something to be said for the Doctor, because like Clive has this dossier of stuff on the Doctor. And the Doctor's
he's a transvestigator.
Yeah, transvestigator. The transes have always been in history, but Clive doesn't see it because Clive is just seeing the threat the Doctor poses, not the true beautiful person the Doctor is.
Yeah.
It's not nothing.
Gonna do this for every story in Doctor Who, and it's gonna make sense every single time.
Your channel's well named. It's great.
Yeah, I'd previously gone with Lucy Licious Docky Who, but Insane Doctor Who Theories is what it seems to be.
It's a good name. Like, it's stuck in my head.
My fellow podcast person, he basically named it that, and I was like, yeah, okay. And it's useful to have an outside perspective to actually name stuff how people perceive it.
Yeah,
I think they're entirely rational and great theories, but to the outsider, they're absolutely batshit.
And that's why I'm not on social media. So I reckon I've got about another 10 minutes left in me.
Ooh. Oh, right. Okay. I want to ask you.
Yeah, what you got?
You said that you think Freema is great,
I fucking love Freema.
but not in Daleks in Manhattan.
Just because I think Daleks in Manhattan is fine. Like,
The only woman writer in RTD1 wrote that
I
story.
know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Thankfully. So I definitely had, when I was watching that, when that was broadcasting, I definitely had some unprocessed patriarchal misogynist bullshit living within me, because I used to consider Helen Rayner to be the worst writer who'd wrote for Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, me too,
for a
pretty
long
much.
time. Yeah. And that is so fucking not true. Daleks in Manhattan I thought was fine. But
I love it so much now. Used to hate it.
Yeah. And Sontaran episodes, they're pretty good, mostly.
So I really, really, really love Tallulah.
Yes. Why do you love Tallulah?
Like,
The vibe.
I don't know. Like, obviously she's like the main woman character in the story, like the first story of the revival written by a woman.
Yes.
Which, in and of itself, it's a rare thing for Doctor Who to have a woman writer anyway, even in Classic Who. I say even in Classic Who. Tallulah, she's like, this like ditzy, sexy, blonde woman stereotype, but she's actually got so much like heart and character. She's so much more than that. She is actually, there's like how she seems from the outside, and then like, I don't know, she's just got so much heart, and I can't even explain it, but I love her to bits. And I think it is something to do with being written by a woman.
That would make sense.
That's all I really have to say, because I don't know how to analyze it more. But like, she is such a deeply enjoyable character.
It's completely legit to vibe with a character and love their presence in the show. And like, that is more than sufficient.
Like, written by a man, I think she would be so much worse and so much more cliched. And I think having that sort of, full femme archetype not be sort of just treated as disrespectfully and misogynistically as a guy would write, like, that is valuable.
I agree completely. The a good thing and a bad thing for me about Tallulah is it being wrapped up with the relationship with Pigboy, because it's really cool that there's never a question that Tallulah doesn't ever consider like not being with your man because he's a pig. It's like, why the fuck do you think I'd care? And Tallulah is extremely conventionally attractive. That's not like, we're supposed to think she's a saint for continuing to want to be in a relationship with Pigboy. Yeah. And like, she doesn't fit that narrative. She doesn't ever like have a conflicted, oh, but can I love him now he's a pig? So like, that I really like. And I think you're spot on in that, like, I don't think a man would have written that as well. But at the same time, I struggle with the pig stuff because I don't like it. Like, I don't think he's got that her boyfriend has a particularly strong presence in the show, and because a lot of Tallulah is tied up in that relationship, she kind of gets dragged down by it for me a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's... but hey, at least the focus is on her and not him,
I'll take it, yeah, totally.
I don't know, I love Tallulah, and I can't explain why.
That's fine. Like, it's nice so she doesn't have a natural place in the story, which might be why she stands out quite so much, but also it means her presence is valuable because she's like, it would have been more obvious to have the main femme from the time be someone from the refugee camp, because that means she's got a personal stake in what's going on beyond dating a pig. But they didn't do that. They linked her to this other separate location where she's an outsider, similar to the people in the refugee camp, but different because, sex workers. Is she a sex worker? Is it burlesque? I forget.
It's burlesque, but it's on the spectrum of sex work, right?
Yeah, totally. I went to my first burlesque a little while back. It was supposed to be a history of burlesque. It was sort of instead doing sort of burlesque through the ages. It was 11 a.m. and the performers were really expecting a rowdy crowd. It was not a rowdy crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I love burlesque, but also, like, I'm always profoundly awkward.
Yes!
It's just a weird... Yeah.
Yeah. The best performer, in my opinion, from my one show really lent into the awkwardness. It was a male burlesque performer. His two performances were Matt Hancock doing a sort of electro swing remix of that speech he did about how it was okay that he broke quarantine protocols to go and have sex with a mistress. That was his show number one. His show number two was him doing Mr. Bean. So he fucking nailed it. It was awesome.
Sounds great. Is there anything about Doctor Who that you want to talk about?
Yes. We had your list of characters. I wanted to have a look and see if there were any characters on both lists because
I looked at your list and I was like, oh yeah, Jackie, of course. And
Jackie's so good.
She is the best. And people say Love and Monsters is bad, but even though it is amazing in every aspect, Jack is Jackie's focal episode. And if we didn't have that, we wouldn't love Jackie as much as we do because she is perfect every time she's on screen, and we get a focal episode for her. Yes.
I struggle with Jackie after Love and Monsters because she's tied up with the zipping between realities thing. She kind of stops being Jackie for me, because she's then dimension jumping and shooting Daleks and
once she goes to Pete's world, once she meets up back with Pete, that's like the end of her story. She's not interesting after that.
We've both got Jackie on there. We've both got Pete on there. Martha's mum I really want to put on there because I love Adjoando so much.
Oh, she's so good.
She's so fucking good. She
elevates every scene she's in, every episode.
She does. She narrates audiobooks and she is amazing.
Nice.
I want to love her in Doctor Who more, but I sort of struggle with some of her scenes because it's the collaborating with the Master's people stuff, and it moves a bit quickly, and I'm not sure I buy Martha's mum being that suspicious of the Doctor and what's going on with Martha like that.
But we don't know what she was told by the guy who whispered in her ear in the Lazarus experiment.
Oh, that's my favourite bit of that episode for sure. I wish it had some more room to breathe, I suppose. I thought putting Chanfo on, Chanfo's really cool. The woman who plays her is excellent. The design is really cool. Creature design in Doctor Who can be very up and down. Chanfo's is so good.
Yeah.
You could definitely make a case for Chanfo being the best designed character.
Yeah, it's arguable.
Yeah. I struggle with her being more than that. Martha getting Chanfo to speak without the Chan and the Tho, I get torn by, because on the one hand it's really fucking cute, on the other hand it is a bit like, let me get involved with this alien culture I know absolutely nothing about, and I know what's better for you than you do sort of stuff. It's by itself, it's absolutely fine. It just has unfortunate harmonies with other media that's done the same thing.
You've ruined that scene now.
This is what my fucking brain does. I hate it, man. I don't like it.
No, but it's good to like grapple with this kind of stuff, you know? Like,
I got given... King's College Hospital gave me a massive dose of psilocybin mushrooms. And one of the things that I came up with during that whole thing was like...
What gave you a dose of psilocybin mushrooms?
Psilocybin magic mushrooms for hallucinogenics.
Who gave you that?
King's College Hospital.
The hospital gave you magic mushrooms?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a medical trial for treatment-resistant depression. They were giving people massive doses of magic mushrooms cure depression. In my experience, yes. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
It was yeah, I agree. Do not take magic mushrooms if you're on antidepressants. Very important. You get serotonin syndrome and might die.
Huh.
You need to say that every time.
Yeah, I mean, don't get good drug advice many places.
Especially don't take good drug advice from me. I have to get... Anyway. So. But the... one of the things that that sort of got presented to me during that whole experience was, am I making my disability, my chronic exhaustion worse by worrying about all this stuff? At what point do I have to just trust that I can act in a way that is kind and compassionate and not be having to watch myself all the time? And isn't that a question that we all have to deal with?
The fear of not being morally perfect all the time?
In my teens, early 20s, I was hella edgelordy. So, like, I have said and done a lot of really bad shit.
The dream is to be an edgelord, but the path there is a dark, dark path.
Yeah.
I still want to be an edgelord, but I don't really.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now my silly Doctor Who theories are a way of being edgy without being shitty.
That's a good way of doing it. Yeah, I like that a lot. Damn. I should have done that. Yeah. Oh, well, never mind. Yes. Master. Both masters? No, all three masters, because you like Sasha.
I love Sasha. The best master by a million miles.
Missy. Yes!
I like Missy in Series 10. I love her a lot.
Yeah. Missy definitely has her ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
I really like her in the Clara Dalek episode.
Yeah, she's definitely a big improvement from just sexually assaulting the Doctor.
There is a lot of sexual assault in Doctor Who. I don't like it.
No, it's...
But, like, casual sexual assault and also using suicide to get yourself out of problems you've written yourself into. It would be really ideal if they just...
the glorification of suicide in Doctor Who is fascinating.
Yeah, like
as a suicidal person, I was suicidal for like over 10 years. Like,
it's not fun, is it?
It makes you sort of crave sort of like finding a way of sort of, having the noble suicide where everyone's like, yeah, that was a great reason to, it was great that you killed yourself. And Doctor Who's like just giving so many like showings of people who get to kill themselves, and it's such a noble, great thing.
I wrote about half a film when I was, I think early 20s, but was that whole thing where like basically writing myself a scenario where it would be okay and noble for me to do that. Or Mike, and stick with me here, you should go to therapy.
I mean, therapy's very inaccessible in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, totally. And like I was very much not in the right place to do it. And oh god,
I now use my music as my therapy. It's free.
Yeah, and what works? Like, so I'm working up to doing EMDR right now. EMDR is the trauma eye movement thing, and
I hear that's good.
Yeah, my friends have mixed experiences. One person didn't massively get on with it, but they have aphantasia. One person was like, it did what it was supposed to do. It was incredibly rough. From what I've heard, it's worth having a go at. But so the guy who's running it for me, you have to do a bunch of safety stuff in advance because they are basically trying to induce flashbacks. And the safety stuffy guy was doing, he was like doing a lot of grounding and stuff, and I've done a lot of that anyway. So he was like, do you mind if we do this? And I said no, and he then immediately just started doing it anyway. And I was so like, did you notice how you just absolutely disregarded my my no there? And he just carried on. And
what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, I love medical professionals. They're so
What's this? A neurodivergent trans person not liking medical professionals? Dear God, man. Yeah, like, fuck me. I've got to stop saying that. Like, thankfully, EMDR works whether or not you like your therapist, supposedly. But when you say therapy is inaccessible for a lot of people, in terms of time, in terms of the capacity to actually get on board with it, and then in terms of actually finding something that's useful and you're not going to wind up with a shithead.
In terms of money as well, in terms of access to the NHS, because you like, you know, I can't get access. I've never been able to get access to therapy via the NHS, so I've needed to pay for it, but I didn't have the money for it.
Yeah, it gets expensive so quick. And like, okay, at what point do you go, okay, I reckon I've got enough out of it? Because every time you go back, it costs a load of money.
And also, like, getting out of the flat is really hard for me, especially when I was at my worst, which was, you know, for about 10 years. So it's inaccessible in so many ways. And then just the fact that, like, there's allegedly so many different types of therapy. It's hard to know which ones to go for, even who to look for. Oh my God, it's a mess.
It's a mess. I would not recommend CBT.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's basically like those thoughts that you think and have like very logical progression of, no, that's not good. Don't think that.
It fully hasn't got anything to say about anything societal. Like, let's even ignore what society is currently doing to us right now, but like climate change, that's a fairly straightforward one. Like, let's say you were upset about the fact that climate change is happening and no one's doing a goddamn thing about it. Like,
its assumption is you're wrong for thinking thoughts that affect you ultimately negatively.
Have you thought about not being upset by the fact that we're living through the apocalypse and no one seems interested in fixing it? Have you? If you were going to try anything just based on mentioning the trauma stuff, I would look into EMDR, just because, like, my friend's experience has been very good with that, and Body Keeps the Score says it's good, and everyone loves that book, including me. I'm just learning the more I talk about it that it's a real cliche to read that thing.
I'll need to check it out. I'm finally getting back into reading because and the way I'm getting through it back into reading is via Doctor Who VNAs, if you know what those are.
No, what are VMAs?
All right, so you know when Doctor Who got cancelled originally?
Yeah.
There's books that came out in the Wilderness years, and they're notoriously edgy, and there are about 60-something of them, and they're called the Virgin New Adventures.
Yeah.
I'm working my way through them, and this is getting me back into Doctor Who. Reading.
That'll do it. I've been reading the new comics, which are surprisingly good. I'm not a comics person.
Oh, I'm a comics person. These are comics. I love comics so much. That's like the one way I can access like intense horror is via comics.
Yeah.
Because I don't like being on an emotional roller coaster, and comics can't do that to me.
Do you read Junji Ito?
Yeah, I've got this, and I got some.
How do you find not liking horror and Junji Ito?
I crave horror. I think horror is so cool. I'm so envious of people who can handle it. I love horror, but I can't deal with being on an emotional roller coaster. That's why I don't like being on actual roller coasters.
Oh,
because it's an
okay.
emotional roller coaster, and you can't get off. And yeah, like video games or movies, they like lock you into, with all the music and stuff. They just like
Mm,
strap you into this emotional roller coaster where there's no control over it.
yeah. But with the comics, you're very much in control of yourself turning the page.
Yeah, and you can just like appreciate it and just, I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was really messed up by Amigara Fault for ages because it's all about like loss of your autonomy. And, you'd be shocked as to why a person with a history of abuse like is upset by a loss of autonomy.
Is that a Junji Ito thing or?
The Enigma of the Amigara Fault, the one where there's the holes in the mountain.
I have not
Do you
seen
not?
it.
Ooh, I'll send you the link. It's well good. But the reason I bring it up was when I was like off my tree on magic mushrooms. One of the first things that happened was I was in a room with this incredibly terrifying like hole in a mountainside, and I was like. So, and I was sit down and talk to it and go, okay, why am I so like scared of you? And the hole was just going, I don't know, man, I'm just a hole. Hallucinogenics. I'm gonna send you the link. Cool.
Wrapping round to what you were saying earlier about how stuff that depicts dreams doesn't tend to feel like dreams. When I first hallucinated, and I've almost never hallucinated knowingly.
Yeah.
I hallucinated, but it wasn't rubbish CGI and stuff. It's more like a dream where you're fully like filled in with the context and stuff, and you don't question it. And media had not prepared me for this. It took me a while to realize I'd even hallucinated once I'd come out of it. It was via mushrooms that I actually managed to hallucinate. So,
Nice. Hell yeah. I had drug-induced psychosis one time. Where I became convinced I'd fallen through a mirror into a mirror universe. And you're right in that like it's very dreamlike because it has logic. I was staring through a mirror I must have fallen through and not noticed.
Yeah.
But it's got no rules behind it. It's just this thing that's true in your head.
Yeah. Like your brain just comes with enough context to understand what it is and accept it, and it's
oh, man. This is cool. Okay.
I was so worried about this. I was just...
me too. I know. Like, yeah.
Because I've not really done like something like this where I'm just like chatting to someone over the internet in a sort of video YouTube-y way.
Yeah, I've had to do it a couple times recently because I've wound up with publishers, which means talking to strangers, which I hate. But yeah, like... Yeah, it's been really nice to talk to you. You've been very easy to talk to. You're very charming. It's very nice. Like, you're fun. You've got a lot of perspectives that I don't have, but there's a lot of, like, commonality between our life experiences and, like, love for this weird fucking show. But, yeah. Oh, man. Fuck's sake, mate.
Yeah, this has been lovely.
Yeah, thanks. Yes. Let's... Yeah.
How are you? How is your energy levels?
Oh, I've been tapering for a while. I've been doing, I gave myself 10 minutes when I said 10 minutes, and then I was enjoying myself. This always happens.
Have we pushed you too far?
No, it's fine. I'm on new meds, and the new meds are doing okay, and we have been setting like quite realistic, like, you clearly know your shit when it comes to disability. I appreciate you checking in, and like,
very important to me.
You've been taking care of me, and I appreciate that. Alright, cool. We haven't talked about like half the stuff. If we want, we can do more.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yay.
This has flowed so much easier than I feared it would.
Yeah. It is complete. So like, one of my presentations, especially with the way I edit, is very like, I start talking, some time passes, I stop talking, and it doesn't really seem how conversation would happen as a result of that presentation, I think.
You mean your Doctor Who videos?
Yeah.
They do feel very intensely negative a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, you focus on the stuff you hate, which is kind of why I wanted to talk about, like, our favourite characters, because I want to, like, talk about the things we resonate with, because there is value to an extent in, like, stuff that we don't like, but it's the positive reviews where, you know, like, people who say Matrix 4 sucks, I don't care why they think that, unless it's about, like, being ableist or racist or something. You know, which, you know, your critiques often go into that kind of stuff, and it's incredibly valuable in that way. But it's, people who find the positive, like, love stuff, I want to see stuff through their eyes.
I agree completely. Like, it makes me real fucking happy to, like, have this have this wonderful thing that just makes me feel things, just makes me happy. And like, I think that is an extremely, like, I fucking agree with that approach. We should, like, I think maybe we should start that next time. Should I put that in the notes?
Well, I mean, we're still recording, aren't we? We can we can include this at the end of this as well.
That's true. Yes, push my face. Yes, no, I like, because we've reached the point now where we chose to stop at the right time.
Cool. So you got to stop now?
If that's okay. But
no
my gears are grinding together. It has been absolutely lovely to talk to you. Yes. Oh man, this was lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay. Yes, we win points for doing this. Anyway, yes, I will see you on the 27th.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.